The lights in the great council hall flashed red 3 times. This meant danger. This meant fear. This meant something terrible was coming. Jake Morrison sat in his small chair near the back of the room. He was the only human in a room full of aliens. Some looked like giant bugs. Others looked like walking trees. A few looked like floating jellyfish made of light. But they all had one thing in common right now. They were all scared. "Order, order," shouted the big insect creature at the front. His name was Chancellor Vexdella. He had 6 arms and eyes like black marbles. "We have received terrible news from our scouts." The room went quiet. Even the floating jellyfish stopped glowing so bright. Jake leaned forward in his chair. He wanted to hear this. A tall crystal being stood up. This was Kethver from the worlds. Light moved through his body like water. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes. 3 days ago, our long-range sensors picked up something moving toward the Sol system, Kethver said. At first, we thought it was space debris, but we were wrong, very wrong. A big screen appeared in the air above them. It showed pictures from space. Jake could see his home star, the sun, as a tiny yellow dot. Around it were small moving shapes. "What you see here," Kethver continued, "is a massive fleet. Over 200 ships, all of them heading toward Earth." Jake felt his heart jump. Earth was his home. His family lived there. His friends lived there. Why was a fleet going to Earth? "But that's not the worst part," said Kethver. His crystal body turned darker. "We know who these ships belong to." The room became even quieter. Jake could hear his own breathing. The Void Hunters' gasps filled the room. Some aliens made clicking sounds. Others hummed low notes. The plant-like creatures rustled their leaves. Jake had heard of the Void Hunters. They were bad news. Really bad news. They traveled from world to world, taking everything. They left nothing behind but empty space. A 6-legged creature that looked like a purple horse stood up. "How long until they reach Earth?" she asked. 5 days, Kethver said. "Maybe 6. Jake stood up so fast his chair fell over. "We have to warn them. We have to help them." But the aliens were not looking at him. They were looking at each other, with strange expressions. Some looked confused. Others looked afraid. But not afraid of the Void Hunters. They looked afraid of something else. Chancellor Vexdalla raised one of his 6 arms. "Commander Morrison, please sit down. We need to discuss something else first." "Something else," Jake said. "What could be more important than saving Earth?" The plant creature near the front turned toward him. Her name was Rootsinger. She looked like a walking tree with flowers for eyes. "Commander Morrison, we have been watching the human response to this threat." "Good," Jake said. "Then you know we need to act fast." "That's just it," said Melendra. "The human response is confusing." Another screen appeared in the air. This one showed ships that Jake recognized. Human ships, Earth ships. They were beautiful and powerful, with white hulls and blue energy trails. But they were moving toward Earth too. "Your people have assembled their own fleet," said Chancellor Vex. "A big one, almost as big as the Void Hunter fleet." Jake smiled. Of course they did. Earth's military is smart. They're going to defend the planet. But the aliens were shaking their heads. The insect chancellor's black eyes seemed to get bigger. "Commander Morrison," he said slowly, "your human fleet is not moving to defend Earth. According to our readings, they are moving to attack it." Jake felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. "That's impossible. Humans would never attack Earth. It's our home." "The energy signatures don't lie," said Kethver. "Your ships have their weapons powered up. Their shields are at full strength. They are in attack formation. But that's because of the Void Hunters," Jake said. "They're getting ready to fight." The purple horse creature spoke again. "Commander Morrison, we have been listening to your military communications. We heard phrases like total planetary control and maximum force authorization. This does not sound like defense. Jake's mind was spinning. This was all wrong. You're misunderstanding something. Humans would never hurt Earth, wouldn't they? Asked Chancellor Vextala. Your species has a history of violence. You fight each other constantly. You destroy your own environment. Maybe you decided that if you can't have Earth, no one can. That's crazy, Jake shouted. But he could see it in their alien faces. They believed it. They actually believed that humans were going to attack their own planet. Rootsinger Melandra's flower eyes dimmed. Perhaps your people learned that the Void Hunters were coming. Perhaps they decided to take Earth for themselves before the Void Hunters could claim it. Or perhaps, said the jellyfish creature, in a voice like singing, they want to show us how strong they are. If humans can conquer their own world, what would stop them from conquering ours? Jake looked around the room. Every alien was staring at him. Some with fear, some with anger, some with what looked like pity. You're all wrong, he said quietly. You don't understand humans at all. Chancellor Vextella stood up to his full height. Commander Morrison, until we can understand what your people are planning, Earth is under quarantine. No ships in or out. No communications. But the Void Hunters will be someone else's problem, the Chancellor said. We cannot risk letting this conflict spread to other worlds. Jake felt cold all over. The Council was going to let Earth die. They were going to let the Void Hunters destroy his home because they thought humans were the real threat. He tried to speak, but no words came out. He tried to think, but his mind was full of noise. All he could do was sit back down and watch as the Council began making plans to abandon Earth to its fate in space. Admiral Lisa Parker stood on the bridge of her ship, watching Earth grow larger on the screen. She had no idea that the galaxy thought she was coming to destroy it. She only knew that her home was in danger, and she was going to save it. Admiral Lisa Parker stood on the bridge of her ship, the USS Defiance. Through the big window in front of her, she could see Earth getting bigger and bigger. The blue and white planet looked peaceful from here, beautiful. But Lisa knew that looks could lie. Admiral, said Captain Ryan Brooks. His voice came through the communication system from his own ship, the USS Vigilant. We're getting some strange readings from the outer system. Lisa turned to her screens. Numbers and charts filled them with information about space around Earth. What kind of readings, Ryan? Energy signatures. Big ones. They match what our science team said we would see before a Void Hunter attack. Lisa felt her stomach tighten. The Void Hunters were real. For months, Earth's best scientists had been studying old alien data files. They had learned about the Void Hunters. They had learned about how these monsters attacked planets. And they had learned that Earth was next on the list. How long do we have? Lisa asked. Maybe 2 days, Ryan said. Maybe less. Lisa looked at the other officers on her bridge. Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster sat at the communication station. Her job was to listen to all the radio signals in space. Chief Science Officer Dr. Kevin Walsh stood near the back, reading data from his computers. Amy, Lisa said, any word from the Galactic Council? Amy shook her head. Nothing, Admiral. It's strange. Usually they talk all the time. But for the past few days, there's been almost no chatter. Maybe they're finally taking the Void Hunter threat seriously, said Dr. Walsh. Maybe they're preparing to help us. Lisa hoped he was right. But something felt wrong. The Council had been quiet for too long, and their human representative, Jake Morrison, had not sent any messages back to Earth. Admiral Parker, came another voice over the communication system. This was Captain Ben Torres from the scout ship USS Ranger. I'm picking up some weird signals from the direction of the Council station. What kind of signals? Lisa asked. They're using military codes, emergency frequencies, and Admiral ... I think they're talking about us. Lisa frowned. About our fleet. Yes, ma'am. I can't understand most of it because they're using alien languages, but I keep hearing the word human and something that sounds like containment. Containment, Lisa said. Why would they want to contain us? No one on the bridge had an answer. Amy Foster looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm getting something strange too. The Council station has activated some kind of jamming field. They're blocking all communications between Earth and the outer galaxy. Lisa felt a chill run down her back. They're jamming us. Why? I don't know, Amy said. But whatever the reason, we're on our own out here. Lisa looked back at Earth, her home, the place where her parents lived, where her brother worked as a teacher, where millions of humans were living their normal lives, not knowing that death was coming for them. All ships, she said into her communicator. This is Admiral Parker. Continue on course to Earth. Prepare all defensive systems. On the USS Vigilant, Captain Ryan Brooks was having his own problems. His science officer, Lieutenant Katie Mills, was showing him data that made no sense. Sir, Katie said, I'm reading massive energy buildup in the outer system, but it's not just Void Hunter signatures. There's something else. What else? Ryan asked. I'm not sure. The readings are ... different, like someone is watching us. Ryan looked at his tactical display. His ship and the rest of the human fleet were spread out in a defensive formation. They were ready to fight, ready to die if they had to. But who were they fighting? Katie, could these readings be from Council ships? Katie checked her computers. Again, maybe. But if they are, why aren't they talking to us? That was a good question. A very good question. Back on the USS Defiance, Dr. Walsh was studying the data from all the fleet's ships. What he found worried him. Admiral, he said, I think we have a problem. Just one, Lisa said with a tired smile. The energy readings we're seeing, they're not all from Void Hunters. Some of them are from Council technology. Lisa turned to face him. Are you saying the Council is here? Not here exactly, but they're watching us. And Admiral ... I think they're afraid of us. Afraid of us? Why would they be afraid of us? Dr. Walsh shook his head. I don't know, but according to these readings, they've set up some kind of barrier around the Sol system. Nothing gets in or out without their permission. Amy Foster looked up from her station again. Admiral, I just picked up a fragment of a Council transmission. It was in English. What did it say? Lisa asked. Amy looked scared. It said something about preventing human expansion and protecting the galaxy. The bridge went quiet. Everyone looked at each other with confusion. Protecting the galaxy from what? Asked Dr. Walsh. From us, I think, Lisa said quietly. This made no sense. Humans had been part of the galactic community for 20 years. They had followed all the rules. They had been peaceful. They had tried to be good neighbors to the alien species. Why would the Council suddenly be afraid of them? Admiral, said Ryan's voice over the communicator. We just detected movement in the asteroid belt. Something big is coming our way. Lisa felt her heart start beating faster. Void Hunters. I'm not sure. The ships don't match any Void Hunter designs we know about. Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. Then she opened them and made a decision. All ships, this is Admiral Parker. We don't know what's happening out there. We don't know why the Council is acting strange. We don't know who else might be coming for Earth. But we know one thing for sure. We will not let our home be destroyed. She paused, looking at Earth on her screen. Whatever is coming, whatever wants to hurt our people, they will have to go through us first. All ships, maintain defensive positions. Prepare for battle. Around the fleet, human ships powered up their weapons. Their shields came online. Their crews took their battle stations. They had no idea that somewhere far away, aliens were watching them and thinking they were the monsters. They had no idea that the Galactic Council thought they were coming to attack Earth instead of defend it. All they knew was that home was behind them. Danger was ahead of them, and they would fight until they could fight no more in the cold darkness of space. Admiral Lisa Parker and her fleet moved toward Earth, ready to face whatever came next. Captain Ben Torres flew his small scout ship through the darkness between planets. The USS Ranger was fast and quiet, perfect for finding enemies before they found you. Right now, Ben was looking for any sign of the Void Hunters that everyone said were coming. "Anything on sensors, Maria?" he asked his science officer, Lieutenant Maria Santos. "Still nothing," Maria said. "Just some space rocks, and ... Wait." Ben looked at her screen. "What is it?" "I'm getting some weird readings from that asteroid cluster ahead. The rocks are blocking most of my scans, but there's definitely something there." Ben felt his hands tighten on the ship's controls. "Something big. Yeah, and it's moving." Ben took a deep breath. "Red alert. Prepare for contact." The lights on the bridge changed to red. The ship's weapons came online. Ben's small crew of 12 people got ready for trouble. "Take us in slowly," Ben said. "I want to see what we're dealing with." The USS Ranger moved forward like a cat sneaking up on a mouse. As they got closer to the asteroids, Ben could see shapes moving in the shadows. Big shapes, ship shapes. "Captain," whispered Lieutenant Joe Carter from the weapons station. "I count at least 6 ships. Maybe more. Are they Void Hunters?" Ben asked. Maria checked her computers. "The energy signatures are ... Yes, Captain. Those are definitely Void Hunter ships." Ben felt cold all over. The scientists on Earth had been right. The Void Hunters were really coming. "How big are they?" he asked. "The biggest one is about 3 times the size of Admiral Parker's ship," Maria said. "The others are smaller but still dangerous." Ben opened a communication channel to Admiral Parker. "Admiral, this is Captain Torres. We have found them." "Found who?" came Lisa's voice through the radio. "The Void Hunters. 6 ships hiding in the asteroid field near Jupiter. They're real, Admiral, and they're getting ready to attack." There was silence for a moment. Then Lisa's voice came back, hard and angry. "Are you sure?" "Yes, ma'am. We're recording everything. Sending you the data now." "Any idea when they'll move?" Lisa asked. Ben looked at his screens again. The Void Hunter ships were spreading out, getting into attack positions. "Soon. Maybe hours, not days." "Understood. Get out of there, Ben. Come back to the fleet." But as Ben started to turn his ship around, the Void Hunters saw him. "Captain," Maria shouted. "They're moving. 3 ships are coming right at us." "Full power, 2 engines," Ben ordered. "Get us out of here." The USS Ranger shot forward like a bullet. Behind them, the Void Hunter ships followed. These ships were big and ugly, made of black metal with red lights. They looked like giant insects made of steel. "They're gaining on us," said Lieutenant Carter. "Return fire," Ben ordered. The small scout ship's weapons lit up the darkness, but the Void Hunter ships had thick armor. Ben's weapons barely scratched them. "We can't fight all 3, Maria said. "We need help." "Admiral Parker is too far away," Ben said. "We're on our own." One of the Void Hunter ships fired at them. A beam of red energy hit the USS Ranger's shields. The ship shook like it was in an earthquake. "Shields down to 60%, Carter reported. Ben made a quick decision. "Maria, can you boost the communication system?" "I think so. Why?" "I want to send everything we've learned to Admiral Parker. If we don't make it back, she needs to know what's coming." Maria's fingers flew over her controls. "Ready, Captain?" "This is Captain Torres to Admiral Parker," Ben said into his communicator. "The Void Hunters are real. They're here. They're going to attack Earth in the next few hours. Their ships are big and heavily armed. There are more of them than we thought." Another red beam hit the USS Ranger. This time, the shields failed completely. "Maria, did the message get through?" Ben asked. "Yes, sir. Admiral Parker received everything. The Void Hunter's ships surrounded them. For a moment, Ben thought they were going to die. But then something strange happened. The alien ships stopped firing. "Why aren't they shooting?" Carter asked. Maria looked at her screens. I think they want to capture us." A new voice came over the ship's radio. It sounded like metal scraping against metal. "Human ship, you will surrender now." Ben thought about it for exactly 1 second. Then he smiled. "Sorry, we don't surrender." He pushed the ship's engines to maximum power and flew straight at the biggest Void Hunter ship. At the last second, he turned hard to the right and shot past them. "They're following us again," Maria said. "Good," Ben said. "Let them follow us away from Earth." For 20 minutes, Ben flew his ship through space, keeping just ahead of the Void Hunters. His plan was simple: keep them busy so they couldn't start their attack on Earth. But the plan didn't work for long. The Void Hunter ships were faster than they looked. Soon, the USS Ranger was surrounded again. "This is it," Ben said to his crew. "It's been an honor serving with you." But then something amazing happened. 4 new ships appeared on the sensors. Human ships. Fast attack ships from Admiral Parker's fleet. "This is Captain Danny White," came a voice over the radio. "Sorry we're late, Ben." The 4 human ships attacked the Void Hunters with everything they had. Energy beams and missiles filled the space around them. 2 of the Void Hunter ships were destroyed. The 3rd one ran away. "Thanks, Danny," Ben said with relief. "How did you find us?" "Admiral Parker sent us when she got your message." "Good work, finding those ships." Ben looked at his damaged ship and tired crew. They had survived. More importantly, they had learned the truth. Meanwhile, far away on the Galactic Council station, Jake Morrison was trying to make the aliens understand. "Listen to me," he said to the council members. "The Void Hunters are real. My people just found them hiding near Jupiter." But the aliens weren't listening. They were looking at new reports from their own scouts. "Commander Morrison," said Chancellor Vextala, "our sensors show that human ships just fought a battle in your outer system." "Yes," Jake said. "They fought the Void Hunters." "Our sensors show they fought someone," said the crystal being Kethfer. "But how do we know these weren't your own ships? How do we know this wasn't a fake battle to make us think the Void Hunters are real?" Jake stared at him. "You think we made this up?" Rootzinger, Melandra's flower eyes dimmed. "Commander Morrison, your people are very clever. Maybe you invented this Void Hunter threat to make us feel sorry for you. Maybe you want us to help you take over other worlds." "That's insane," Jake shouted. But he could see it in their faces. They had made up their minds. They thought humans were lying about everything. They thought the real threat was humanity itself. "The quarantine continues," said Chancellor Vextala. "No help will be sent to Earth." Jake sat down heavily in his chair. His people were about to face the worst enemy in the galaxy, and they would face them alone. Jake Morrison had heard enough. He stood up so fast that his chair fell over with a loud crash. Every alien in the council hall turned to look at him. "You want to know what humans are really like?" Jake said, his voice echoing through the big room. "Fine, I'll show you." He walked to the front of the hall, right up to the big screen where they had been watching the human fleet. "You think we're monsters? You think we're coming to attack our own planet? Well, let me tell you something about humans." Chancellor Vextala raised one of his 6 arms. "Commander Morrison, you are out of order." "No," Jake said firmly. "You are out of order. You're sitting here making guesses about my people while they're about to die fighting real monsters." He pointed at the screen. "You want to see what humans do when their home is threatened? Watch." On the screen, they could see Admiral Parker's fleet getting closer to Earth. At the same time, dark shapes were moving in from the other direction. The Void Hunters were coming. "Dr. Clark," Jake called to his aide, "show them the real communications from our fleet." Dr. Susan Clark, Earth's chief scientist on the council station, stepped forward. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "I've been monitoring human military channels," she said. "Would you like to know what they're really saying?" She pressed a button on her device. Suddenly, voices filled the council hall. Human voices. Admiral Parker's voice. "All ships, this is Admiral Parker. We have confirmation that Void Hunter's ships are approaching Earth. Our mission is simple: protect our home at all costs." Another voice came through. Captain Ryan Brooks from the USS Vigilant. "Admiral, we're outnumbered 3-1, maybe more." "I know, Ryan," came Admiral Parker's reply. "But we're not backing down. Earth is behind us. Our families are behind us. We hold the line here." The alien council members listened in silence. Some of them looked confused. Others looked surprised. More voices came through the radio. "This is Colonel Pete Williams on Luna Base. All orbital platforms are ready. If any Void Hunter ship gets past you, Admiral, we'll be waiting. This is Major Danny Robinson on Earth. Ground forces are prepared. We'll fight them in the cities if we have to." Jake looked around the council hall. Do these sound like people planning to attack their own planet? Or do they sound like people ready to die for it? The crystal being Kethfer's light grew dimmer. Perhaps we misunderstood." "You did more than misunderstand," Jake said angrily. "You abandoned us. You left us to face the worst enemy in the galaxy alone." On the screen, the battle was starting. Void Hunter's ships dropped out of hyperspace near Earth like a swarm of angry metal insects. There were dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Admiral Parker's fleet turned to meet them. The human ships looked small and brave against the dark enemy fleet. "All ships," came Admiral Parker's voice through the speakers. "This is it for Earth, for humanity, for everyone we love." The first shots were fired. Beams of light crossed the darkness of space. Human ships dodged and weaved, trying to avoid the heavy Void Hunter weapons. But there were so many enemies. The USS Vigilant took a direct hit. Captain Ryan Brooks' voice came through the radio.com even as his ship was dying. "Admiral, we've lost main power. We're going down fighting." The Vigilant exploded in a ball of light. Captain Brooks and his crew of 200 people were gone. Root singer Melandra made a sound like wind through leaves. "They're dying," she whispered. "Yes," Jake said. "They're dying. Because you wouldn't help them." On the screen, more human ships were being destroyed, but they kept fighting. They kept protecting Earth. Captain Sarah Martinez commanded the USS Redemption. Her ship was badly damaged, but she flew it straight at a Void Hunter battle cruiser. "For Captain Brooks," she said over the radio. "For everyone we've lost." The Redemption crashed into the enemy ship. Both ships exploded together. The council hall was completely quiet now. Even the floating jellyfish aliens had stopped glowing. "Your people fight well," said the purple horse creature quietly. "They fight like they have nothing to lose," Jake said, "because thanks to you, they don't." More battles played out on the screen. Major Danny Robinson was fighting in the streets of New York City. Void Hunter soldiers had landed, but human troops were fighting them block by block. "This is Robinson," came his voice through the radio. "They're in Central Park now. We're falling back to the subway tunnels. We'll keep fighting underground if we have to." Colonel Pete Williams was commanding the defense of Luna Base. "Earth Fleet, this is Luna Base. We're taking heavy fire, but our guns are still online. We'll keep shooting until there's nothing left to shoot with." Admiral Parker's own ship, the USS Defiance, was surrounded by enemy vessels. Half her fleet was gone. The other half was badly damaged. "Admiral," came the voice of her communications officer, Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster. "We're getting a transmission from Earth. It's being broadcast on all frequencies." "Put it through," Admiral Parker said. A new voice filled the council hall. It was an old man's voice, shaky but determined. "This is President Miller speaking from Washington. To all humanity, wherever you are, We may not survive this day, but we face it together. We face it as one people, fighting for our home. The president's voice continued. To our brave men and women in space, to our soldiers on the ground, to everyone who stands against the darkness, you are not forgotten. You are not alone. Earth remembers. Earth honors you. There was a pause. Then the president said something that made even the alien council members lean forward, and to anyone else out there listening to this transmission. To any species, any civilization that might hear these words, this is what humanity looks like. We don't conquer. We don't invade. We protect. We sacrifice. We die for what we believe in. The transmission ended. The council hall was silent, except for the sound of battle coming from the speakers. Chancellor Vextala slowly stood up. His 6 arms were shaking. We have made a terrible mistake. Yes, Jake said. You have. Rootsinger, Melandra, S-Flower, eyes began to glow brighter. Commander Morrison, is there still time? Can we still help? Jake looked at the screen. Admiral Parker's fleet was almost gone. Earth's defenses were failing. The Void Hunters were winning. I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe, if you move right now, if you send everything you have. The crystal being Kethfer spoke up. The Zephyrian fleet can be at Earth in 6 hours. The Alterian Empire has ships in the next system over, said Chancellor Vextala. They could be there in 4 hours. My people's bioships are already growing in the nearby nebula, said Rootsinger Melandra. They could reach Earth in 3 hours. Jake felt a spark of hope. Then what are you waiting for? Chancellor Vextala raised all 6 arms. Emergency. Resolution. All in favor of immediate military assistance to Earth. Hands, arms, tentacles, and other alien body parts went up all around the hall. The vote was unanimous. Send the fleets, the Chancellor ordered. All of them, everything we have. On the screen, Admiral Parker was making her last stand. Her ship was damaged and surrounded, but she was still fighting. This is Admiral Parker to all remaining ships. Her voice came through the speakers. We've done our best. We've bought Earth as much time as we could. It's been an honor serving with you all. Jake looked up at the screen where his people were dying. Hold on, he whispered. Just hold on a little longer. Help is coming. Admiral Lisa Parker stood on the bridge of the USS Defiance. Her ship was barely holding together. Sparks flew from broken computers. The lights flickered on and off. Through the cracks in the front window, she could see space filled with fire and wreckage. Admiral, said Lieutenant Commander Amy Foster, we've lost contact with most of the fleet. Lisa nodded sadly. She had started this battle with 47 ships. Now she had maybe 8 left, and those 8 were all badly damaged. Dr. Walsh, she called to her science officer, how many Void Hunter ships are still out there? Dr. Kevin Walsh looked at his cracked screen. At least 30, Admiral, maybe more. They're getting ready for another attack. Lisa closed her eyes for a moment. They had fought so hard. They had given everything they had, but it wasn't enough. All remaining ships, she said into her communicator. This is Admiral Parker. Form up on me. We're going to make one last push. Admiral, came Captain Danny White's voice. His ship, the USS Guardian, was missing half its weapons. We can't win this fight. I know, Lisa said quietly, but we can make them remember us. The last few human ships moved into formation. They were small and broken, surrounded by an ocean of enemy vessels. But they didn't run. They never even thought about running. For Earth, Lisa said. For Earth, came the voices of her remaining captains. The human ships moved forward, ready to die fighting. The Void Hunters moved to meet them, ready to finish what they had started. But then something impossible happened. Admiral, Amy Foster shouted. I'm picking up new ships on long-range sensors. More Void Hunters? Lisa asked. No, ma'am. These are council ships. Dr. Walsh looked at his instruments. She's right, Admiral. I count at least 50 ships, and they're coming fast. Lisa felt her heart jump. Are you sure? Yes, ma'am. Zephyrian crystal ships, Alterian battlecruisers, Sylvani bioships. They're all here. The first ships to arrive were the crystal vessels of the Zephyrian fleet. They dropped out of hyperspace like falling stars, their bodies glowing with internal light. Their weapons were beams of pure energy that cut through Void Hunter armor like it was paper. This is Fleet Commander Zeftel, came a voice like wind chimes over the radio. Admiral Parker, we are here to assist. Lisa couldn't believe it. Commander Zeftel, how did you? Why are you here? Because we were wrong about your people, the alien replied. And because no species should face the Void Hunters alone. More ships arrived. The Alterian fleet came next, their vessels shaped like giant metal insects with weapons all over their hulls. Behind them came the Sylvani bioships, looking like living trees that could fly through space. The Void Hunters suddenly found themselves facing not just a few broken human ships, but the combined might of the entire Galactic Council. All Council ships, came Chancellor Vextala's voice over the radio. Target the Void Hunter fleet. Show them what happens when they threaten our friends. The battle that followed was like nothing anyone had ever seen. The Council fleets attacked with fury that surprised even themselves. They had spent so long being afraid of humanity that they had forgotten how to be brave. Now, they remembered. The Zephyrian ships moved like dancers, their crystal bodies flashing as they fired. The Alterian cruisers flew in perfect formations, their weapons working together like a deadly orchestra. The Sylvani bioships grew new weapons as they fought, adapting to each enemy they faced. And in the middle of it all, Admiral Parker's broken fleet kept fighting too. Admiral, said Amy Foster, we're getting a transmission from Earth. Put it through, Lisa said. Colonel Pete Williams' voice came over the radio. Admiral Parker, this is Luna Base. We can see the battle from here. The whole galaxy came to help us. I can hardly believe it myself. Pete, Lisa replied. Ma'am, we're also getting reports from the surface. Major Robinson says the Void Hunters are pulling back from the cities. I think they're calling their ground troops back to their ships. Lisa looked at the battle raging around her. The Void Hunters were losing. They were actually losing. This is impossible, came a metal voice over the radio. A Void Hunter commander was speaking. How did the weak species find courage? Fleet Commander Zeftal answered him. They found it by watching humanity fight. The Void Hunter fleet was falling apart. Their ships were being destroyed faster than they could retreat. Some tried to run, but the Council ships chased them down. This is Fleet Commander Morgax, of the Alterian Empire, came a new voice. Any Void Hunter ship that surrenders will be spared. Any ship that continues to fight will be destroyed. Most of the Void Hunters chose to keep fighting. They were not a species that surrendered easily, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. Now, one by one, their ships were destroyed. The last Void Hunter ship tried to ram into Earth itself, hoping to cause damage even in defeat, but Captain Sarah Martinez's replacement, Captain Tim Baker, flew his damaged ship between the enemy and the planet. This is Captain Baker, he said calmly. You're not getting through. His ship, the USS Phoenix, collided with the Void Hunter vessel. Both ships exploded in a flash of light that could be seen from the surface of Earth, and then it was over. The battle was won. Earth was safe. Admiral Parker sat down heavily in her captain's chair. She was exhausted. Her ship was a wreck. Half her fleet was gone. But they had won. Admiral, said Amy Foster, we're getting a transmission from the Galactic Council station. Let me guess, Lisa said with a tired smile. They want to apologize. Actually, ma'am, it's Commander Morrison. Jake's voice came over the radio, and Lisa could hear that he was crying. Admiral Parker, you did it. You saved Earth. You saved everyone. We all did it, Jake, Lisa replied. Humans, aliens, everyone. We did it together. Chancellor Vextala's voice joined the conversation. Admiral Parker, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to apologize. We misjudged your species badly. We were afraid of you, added Fleet Commander Zeftel. We thought your strength made you dangerous. We didn't understand that your strength came from your willingness to protect others. Root singer Melandra's musical voice came through next. We have learned something important today. The most dangerous species is not the one that conquers. It is the one that sacrifices. Admiral Parker looked out at space, where council ships and the remains of her own fleet floated together. Ships from dozens of different worlds, united by the battle they had just fought. Thank you, she said simply. Thank you for coming when we needed you. Thank you for showing us what courage looks like. Chancellor Vextala replied. A few hours later, Jake Morrison stood in the council hall again. But this time, it was different. This time, the aliens were not afraid of humanity. They were in awe of them. Commander Morrison, said Chancellor Vextala, the Galactic Council would like to offer humanity full membership, all voting rights, all benefits, all responsibilities. Jake smiled. I'll need to ask my government, but I think they'll say yes. There is one more thing, said Root Singer Melandra. We would like to establish a new law. From now on, any species that faces the Void Hunters will not face them alone. The whole galaxy will stand together. What will you call this law? Jake asked. The crystal being Kethfer's light pulsed gently. We will call it the Earth Doctrine, in honor of the people who taught us that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is refuse to surrender. Jake looked around the hall at all the alien faces. A few days ago, they had been afraid of humanity. Now they wanted to be like them. The galaxy learned something important today, he said. We're stronger together than we are apart, and in the years that followed, whenever the Void Hunters or any other threat appeared, the galaxy remembered the lesson they had learned at Earth. They remembered that courage is not about being unafraid. Courage is about doing what's right even when you are afraid. They remembered that humanity had faced the darkness alone and refused to give up, and they made sure that no species would ever have to face that darkness alone again.